It made 127 kills without ever being seen. In 1940, Allied commanders were helpless against the terror of night raids. Cities burned, defenses fired blindly, and every passing bomber reminded them of a truth they could not ignore. They had no answer for the darkness. Desperation demanded something radical. A fighter that could see without light. A machine built to hunt in the black. And so was born Northrop's P-61 Black Widow, an aircraft unlike anything before it. Radar in its nose, guns in its belly, and a glossy black skin that turned searchlights useless. But behind its string of victories lies a story not of luck, but of urgency, invention, and a war that forced engineers to rewrite the rules of flight. What made the Black Widow unstoppable? Night over Europe, 1940. German bombers slipped past searchlights like ghosts, their engines rumbling overhead as bombs rained down on London. Anti-aircraft guns thunder, but they hit nothing. Day fighters, designed for sunlit skies, were helpless after sunset. Pilots flew blind, guided only by the glow of enemy exhaust or the sweep of search beams. It was chaos, and it was deadly. Reports grew grim, cities shattered, civilians killed. Commanders realized this war could not be won without a predator of the night, a fighter that would turn darkness from a shield into a trap. Northrop's engineers answered the call. Their design was like no other: twin booms, 3 crew, and a cockpit glowing red so eyes stayed sharp in the dark. In the nose, a 30-inch radar dish swept the skies, finding targets 5 miles away. Ghostly blips appeared on the scope, and the radar operator whispered vectors to the pilot, guiding him silently toward the kill. By the time the enemy knew, it was already too late. 2 Pratt Whitney R-2800 engines roared with nearly 4,000 combined horsepower. 4 20mm cannons spat fire from its belly, while 4 50 caliber Brownings in a remote turret rained death from above. But its deadliest weapon was invisibility. In tests, glossy black paint made the P-61 vanish under searchlights in 8 out of 10 passes. From that day on, every Black Widow rolled out of the factory, cloaked in shadow. It was not just a fighter, it was the night itself. In January 1944, 75,000 people filled the Los Angeles Coliseum for an Army-Navy show. A Black Widow roared overhead. The crowd heard it, but in the glare of searchlights, they saw nothing. Gasps filled the stadium. The Black Widow had shown the world what it could do. Months later, P-61 seconds reached England. Their orders? Intercept V-1 flying bombs and hunt German raiders. They succeeded but struggled against faster Messerschmitts. Spare parts ran thin, and by the Battle of the Bulge, only a handful remained. Yet the Black Widow had already proven its worth. Europe had seen its shadow. Now, the Pacific would hear its bite. On Morotai and Saipan, the night skies belonged to the Black Widow. The 418th Squadron became legends, claiming more victories than any other unit. They stalked Japanese bombers through storm and cloud, striking where no other fighter dared. One night, 3 key 61 Tonys fell to a single P-61 inches 1 sortie. Japanese pilots, once confident in the cover of darkness, now faced a hunter they could never see until it was too late. And then came the final chapter. The 14th of August 1945. Lady in the Dark patrolled the Pacific. The war had ended. But in the black sky above Yashima, her radar found one last target, a lone Japanese fighter, weaving desperately, dropping chaff, trying to escape. Captain Lee Kendall closed in, guided by Lieutenant Scher's voice on radar. They never fired a shot. They simply stayed locked, unseen, until the enemy panicked and slammed into the ground. The Black Widow had claimed the final confirmed aerial victory of World War II without firing a bullet. After the war, the P-61's mission changed. No longer a killer of bombers, it became a pioneer of science. In Operation Thunderstorm, Black Widows flew straight into raging storms, carrying instruments that recorded winds, lightning, and turbulence. More than 1,300 penetrations later, they had laid the foundations for modern weather radar and safer skies. By 1954, the last Black Widow was retired, but its shadow stretched forward. Northrop's jet-powered F-89 Scorpion carried its philosophy, a radar-first interceptor with heavy firepower and a dedicated operator. What began with the P-61 became standard for every all-weather fighter of the Cold War. Its record stands: 127 enemy aircraft destroyed, 18 volts, 1 flying bombs intercepted. A blueprint for the future of air defense. The Black Widow was more than a fighter. It was a hunter of the unseen, a weapon forged from desperation, and a legend that turned the night itself into a battlefield.